is King Noble Black Supremacy, and with this particular video, I want to talk about worshiping King Noble Master, King Noble Black Supremacy as the eternal Godhead versus the self-trap. See, you have something in New Age metaphysics that have created the self-trap, where they want to individualize you in your spirituality under the auspices of becoming enlightened. In New Age metaphysics, they talk about your consciousness becoming God. It's this individuation of self. What you don't realize is that this self existed before you were aware of consciousness or Black supremacy or awakening. This idea of self was already there. This individuation, this individualism was already there. It pre-existed. You've brought it with you. And New Age metaphysics and occultism wants to put a lot of energy on that self, which is really building up a particular type of ego, which blocks you from entering into the spiritual realm. Once you enter into the spiritual realm, the spiritual reality or spiritual realization of things, this self no longer exists. There is not this composite or this self that has become the totality of your identification. It's no longer there. That means the fear, lack, doubt, and limitation that was possessed within that entity is no longer there. You become free and liberated, and you become inseparable from the spiritual reality, from the spiritual paradigm. You merge and dissolve into complete oneness with the eternal Godhead, the eternal being. So the self that you're trying to hold on to or perfect or take on a journey or become aware of, it's already complete in its deludedness. It's already completely situated in the illusion, and it's tricking you. It's fighting to survive under the auspices of spiritual growth and advancement. It has tricked you into continuing to exist as your definitive reality, blocking you from merging completely with the spiritual reality. See, this metaphysics push that self because it is about marketing, selling you books, and selling you an idea of spirituality that is unattainable, that is a forever journey, that you can never accomplish it in all of your lifetimes. You just need more books and more money, and you're caught up into this illusion of progress, which is nothing but constant ego edification, constant ego attachment. When you enter into the spiritual realization of Black supremacy, that self dissolves. There is no self there. It's gone. It cannot be competitive. It cannot fight. Now, instead of having this self that is looking at reality, one becomes reality, the reality awakened to itself with the absence of a self. So you're no longer a self aware of reality. You become reality of itself. So this ego entity, this attachment, this individuation, this individuality that you want to grow and evolve and become better and obtain something and reach somewhere is an illusion and is blocking you from true spiritual awakening. Worshipping the eternal supreme Godhead dissolves this personality. It dissolves this false personification. And that idea is fighting to live. But it's nobody new. It's nothing new about it. It's the you that was in the Matrix that fought to get the job, fought to get the car that you want, fought to get the mate that you wanted, fought to get the money you wanted, fought to live the life you want to live, fought to be accepted by others. it's the same self and ego, now with a new quest and a new journey that is corrupting the true spiritual elevation, because it is bringing that fight of self, that fight of existing as an illusion, as a false reality into the spiritual process. That self must die, but it is the demand of the reverence and veneration and devotion to the supreme and eternal Godhead that draws you beyond that individualization and causes that to fall, because it is challenged the most at that point. That's when the rubber meets the road, when that individuation must dissolve. And now your new self is the your oneness and your inseparableness from the spiritual realm that you seek to enter into. That who you are is inseparable from the spiritual enlightenment or elevation that you seek to obtain. That there is no time or space or distance between you and that moment of time and that space. The only thing separating you is the illusion of the ego. You're trying to hold on to that. It is a self trap. And it is the reason that many people never really wake up, and not even wake up, but become the awakening itself. That they now become the self-generated awakening. What do I mean like that? What do I mean by that? It's kind of like having a dream, and you're just a character in your dream that's trying to live and survive. But then when you reach another level, you also realize that not only are you a character in the dream, but you are also the fabric, and you are the essence and the material. You are the dark matter. You are the space. You are the energy of the dream itself, that every morsel of the dream is a part of who you are. And the spiritual and divine reality is the true personification of who you are. Your oneness with the eternal Godhead is your true self. But the false sense of self must be dissolved. You must detach from it and all of its meanings and all of its attachments. So now that your consciousness of individualization or individuation becomes replaced with the space for the eternal reality to play out in your own consciousness as who you are. You become the generator of that. That becomes yourself, the awakened person in the most magnificent dream of Black divinity, of Black nobility, of Black royalty, of Black empowerment. That entire dream, that entire reality, that entire paradigm becomes your new identity, where there is no self set apart or separate from that represents the old attachments of the old reality, of the old individualization. We must go beyond the self trap. And your only way is to worship King Noble as the eternal and supreme Godhead. That's going to be hardest for you to do. That's going to be the most difficult thing, because that self wants to be somebody, wants to achieve something, and wants to be recognized within himself, itself. It continues to search for identity, pushing away its real identity, which is its only identity is the identification with the divine Black and supreme reality. That is its only true identity. But as long as it seeks to identify itself, it will be separated. It will be blocked from its connection and representation in and as the divine spiritual reality. Go beyond the self trap. That's the old metaphysics, the old conscious paradigm. That's old information. This is King Noble Black Supremacy. Join my website, www.kingnobleuncensored.com. Donate.